Hey, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is 2013 222 Top Down Targets Research Part 2. I'm going to go 4 teams at a time, do some discussions over that time period, looking at targets per game average by position. I'm going to convert that to percentile, and pretty much I've got a good idea of what is kind of average and what's above average. So we can get kind of a picture of last year's team as far as positional usage, which can be a good tiebreaker for you. This is an example: Arizona, Atlanta, Baltimore, Buffalo. You can look RB, TE, and WR. Look from 13 to 22. Look at the average there. Remember, overall average is about 20%, 20%, 60%. And Arizona kind of looks like, yeah, it's okay. Atlanta, horrible. Look at that. Okay, we just talked about on the bottom there. Look at that. Not good. Not good at all. Baltimore did not use its running backs, loves its tight ends. Buffalo, little lower than I would like for RB and uh, TE. If we look at percentile, Arizona's a little below average on running backs. Running backs average in this metric is about 24%, tight ends about 29, and wide receiver 47. So they are up wide receiver, the others slightly down there. I do have a ratio if you want to see the ratio there, but definitely underutilizing RB and tight end last year. Atlanta, they were very low on RB. 18% is almost the worst. Baltimore's that 11%. You kidding me? Uh, Interesting about Atlanta tight end, 37%. So they were using the tight end. That pitch did get their attention. The WRs is below average, so looks to me like Atlanta was not really using its RBs as much as before. Remember, Patterson was catching a lot in the backfield. He may have been, I don't know if he's considered a PR, but anyway, Baltimore, look at 51%. That is almost close to double the average there. That is crazy. So everybody's talking about Andrews. I agree. If Andrews can be at 51%, it's gravy. Okay. Notice the year before he got hurt, 36. Okay, but need to see it at number two. Love to see the 50. Buffalo is below average, above average. So they were slinging for the fences there with the WRs. So very, very interesting. So right now, if you go through this, and I like the percentile better because I know the averages and whatnot. So I'm going to kind of hit that, keep this jolly. But I'll have all these figures up on the Science of Fantasy if you want to see the actual averages. But I think if you look percentile, you kind of get an idea of what the average is. And look at the ratios. I think that gives you some proportional clue about how teams in the past have used uh, wide receivers versus tight ends and RBs there. So the next, again, I'll show you this, but I like this. Carolina a little high, RBs pretty low for tight ends. I don't even know who the tight end is, but it was sad last year, and I'm not sure we're going to see anything different. they were passing like crazy. So I do like to see Mingo and Thielen, Shark, Chenault. I think they're going to be a pass catching circus there. I'm certainly drafting Thielen when I can and Mingo as well. RBs, I'm not turning away a Carolina RB at this point. They do love to pass to the RBs. Chicago did not utilize the pass catching RBs. 20% tight end above average. So commit is worthy of discussion. Chicago about average on passing, so they were below average on running backs here. Cincinnati high on the running backs, so Mixon and whoever the pass catcher is, because I think they got rid of P Ryan, didn't they? Yeah, I think so. Tight end was sad, so I don't know who the tight end is, but 23% was sad. 48 is average. So isn't that interesting? 48 is average. Can you imagine if Cincinnati gave us 52% like Carolina? Wow. Talk about Chase be worth some bucks there, man. No, he's being drafted probably what, second? Just realize that there are teams that use wide receivers more. Okay, Cleveland, sadness on their RBs, but sweetness. Is that Njoku on the tight end? Yeah, he's worth a, a consideration at tight end and wide receiver, a little below average. So continue to be concerned about Cleveland wide receivers there. Don't like to see that below average situation. Dallas last year, Dak it was sad. Tight end with Schultz did get some play at 30%. He's gone. I don't know if Ferguson can catch it. I'm not drafting him. I think it's going to go down to 24, 22%. It's sad. RBs, Pollard, I think that's fine if you're drafting him to be a pass catching. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Look at 42%. That was so low. Dallas, it's been bad. Okay, Dallas is usually close to average, and so I'm hoping this is a hope that Dallas gets up because people drafting Lamb uh, 1, 2, or 3 right there, and uh, you're gonna have to at 42%. Dak's gonna have to give you more. You're gonna be like, I'm leaving points on the table each week. Denver, I know it's Wilson, new coach, but tight end was average. The wide receiver was the sad 39%, better than 32 the year before that, 21. But running backs, okay, I like that. So they were relying on running backs and getting an average tight end, and that was balancing out their sadness for wide receiver there. Uh, RBs at Detroit, about average, a little bit above. Tight end, love the tight. I don't know who did the tight end get hurt or something. I don't know. Whoever it is might surprise since I don't know who it is. It may you may want to look at that. Wide receivers, I know the Sun God, but other than that, there was points left on the table last year. Some of that was the home away splits. I bet if we looked at the targets per game distribution, home and away, with something as biased as Detroit, we would see something. Green Bay, Rodgers, running backs all day long, tight ends, forget about it. So I don't know what kind of Rodgers, but he's been sad on tight ends. So I don't know who the Jets tight end is. Figured out, but just be aware. You heard it here first that as he changes completely, he's been sadness there. Average, wide receivers. So one would predict that the Jets, you're going to get pass catching RBs and WRs and not much on the tight end. Houston average WR, below average tight ends, so they didn't use their tight ends much they should have, but nothing says last few years they're going to change. RBs, one of the best years. In fact, it is the best year in the last 9. So that, that is intriguing. And, might, is it Pierce? So you might get a little extra bang for your buck there with him. Indianapolis, extra sad. So 29%. It was okay. I mean, it's better than Houston, but 27, a little bit below average on the tight ends. I felt like they had a lot of good tight ends, but they just didn't. They were leaving points on the table. And WRs was 44. That's sad. Low. Jacksonville, all about the WRs. Look at that. 22. So below average. They were putting all their eggs in the wide receiver circus. So I'm assuming we'll see that again. So be cautious on Ingram. Okay. Just be, you know, Kansas City. I know McKinnon can catch, but overall the whole season they were sad. 18% is one of the lowest in the league. Sad. Kelsey. It's all about that Kelsey at 37. Remember, Andrews is 51% of the game there. So, and then the WRs were below average. So, I think in the 30s, 33, 4, 7, 9, that seems about right. I don't think we'll get anything more, but I think you'll definitely get, obviously, a lot of attention with this. Running backs for the Chargers was Eckler was underutilized, folks. Points on the table. Tight end, way underused. Again, it was a bias to the wide receivers. I'm drafting Keenan now. I'm not reaching for him, but I'll take him if he falls to me. 52%. Year before 53. I like it. The Rams, sad pass catchers for the running backs. Tight ends got my attention. 33 was one of the best in a long time. Average WRs, so, you know, average. It was, 48's okay. Raiders, 21's below average on the running backs. Tight ends, Waller, they used him well, so don't know who they picked up this year, but whoever it is should get your attention. WR's a little below, so they need to step up their WRs. I don't remember how many I'm drafted. There are not many wide receivers from Miami. They were doing pretty good. Gesicki was in the wrong place last year. It was all about the WR. So Gesicki moving to New England has to improve him. At 23, that's very sad. So what catches my attention, a lot like the Chargers in Miami. I mean, you could start seeing teams that do about the same activity. If you look at the proportions, you can start drafting teams and considering what they do. I've done that before. Just kind of on a fingertip, just kind of what's the group in there? And the Chargers of Miami would be a lot alike. Okay, in strategy and usage. Minnesota, all their eggs, even more skewed than Chargers, Miami, Minnesota. So the PPR passing league, hard to imagine anything's going to change, but there it is. Cook's gone. New England, 33% tight ends, like Gesicki. I think he's a nice little roll of the dice as a tight end too there. RBs, Loving the pass catchers coming out of the backfield, folks. WRs, that's what's going to make or break by New England this year. Can they move that closer to average? That's 10% below average, one of the lowest in the league there. They were putting their eggs in short passes and tight ends. New Orleans kind of is above tight end. I mean, average tight end, actually below average tight end, above average RB, and below average WRs. So with Carr, so Carr was, so figure WRs are not, it's the tight end that might, okay. I am drafted one. The tight end is my tight end 3. Best ball. Giants, average, pretty much average, pretty much average. They're an average team. There they are. Uh, so kind of what you got last year, kind of what you're going to get this year as far as targets per game. The Jets with Rodgers has to be better than it was last year. 41%, folks, is sucky. Okay, they were doing short passes to the running back. Tight end was underplayed. I don't think the tight end's going to increase under Rodgers. I mean, he showed that he's going to the running backs or he's peppering his WRs. So I think it's going to get closer. WRs are going to go up. RBs might stay the same, and the tight ends drop down. Philadelphia, another crazy ass Minnesota like circus. So we'll see with the new faces what's going to happen. That's what it looks to me. Jalen Hurts was taking all the rushing and stuff. So if he couldn't find his WRs, Smith and Brown, then he was running. And I have taken Goddard, but boy, I'm worried about that 23. I've actually stopped taking Goddard in my 50 redrafts when I did this. That made me back off. So guess who I'm taking? Freiermuth at 35%. Look at Philadelphia. So I have moved my target down. If I can't get Kelsey, I'm now collecting Freiermuth at 35%. The WRs, Deontay Johnson left points on the table last year. Najee Harris at 20%. It's underwhelming. Seattle, 20%. Tight end. I don't say Noah Fant there. I think he's viable. I think they do 2 tight ends. Folks, they got what, 3? Lockett, Metcalf, and the rookie at 42%. Something is just not setting up for me there. I have not taken the rookie. I have not been taking Metcalf. I've been putting my eggs in the Lockett basket, but not reaching for him, but taking his, I think I use my WR3. That's about, given 42%, I have concerns about that whole show in Seattle. I know people, Geno's a good QB2. I'd hate to have him as my one. Finally, San Francisco, a lot like poor Kittle, 24%. Is that going to change this year? CMC, 20%. There's points on the table. They are overthrowing to the WRs, folks, and they are missing other targets. But new quarterback, maybe a new day. Tampa Bay, new situation. 4-8's gone. Running backs did okay, 31. Tight ends are sad. I'm not taking a tight end. Godwin, 45%. I'm taking Godwin, not taking Edwards. Not reaching for Godwin. He's a good WR3 for me. Tennessee, just Hopkins at 42, folks. Love the tight end with Chiggy. Love him, love him. I've actually been taking a lot of him as my second tight end all day long. Love Henry, 24s, average. Washington at 32 is above average. It gets my attention. I think Gibson and Robinson should collect some targets. It's the WRs. Scary Terry. I mean, they did better last year. I just don't know if we're going to see. I mean, look at it. 44 is the best it's been in a long time. Just not seeing the upside there for Washington. Be cautious of that. Okay. Let's. Okay. I think I'm going to stop here because I'm going to do some testing of the positions there. So this is lesson two. We hit team by team. I'll have static images, folks. And anyway, I hope I made you think. I went through it pretty quick, but there's a lot of interesting data there that's going to help you out if you focus. Okay. Come back. We're having fun. Woo woo.